Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike MacRae.
Thank you so much. Well, how genuine. Thank you. It's good to be here, everybody. Like Matt, I am a parent. Yes, very proud of that. And we take good care of him. We take him to the vet, get him all his shots, all that good stuff. Not everybody's into that. Right after he was born, we were talking to a woman who lived on our street. She's one of these anti-vaccination people. And she was giving me the third degree. She's like, "You're not going to have him vaccinated, are you?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, we're not insane. We're going to vaccinate our child." And she's like, "Well, just do me a favor, do the research. Just do the research." And I was like, "I'm not doing any research." She's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "I can't." She's like, "What do you mean you can't?" I'm like, "Well, in order for me to do the research, I have to go back to undergrad, get all my pre-med requirements met. I have to apply to med school. I have to take the whole MC SCAT-CAT testing or whatever. I got to apply to a residency program where they're doing research and that sort of thing. I can't." She's like, "What are you talking about?" And that's when I realized, oh, I'm sorry. By research, you meant looking at Facebook and mommy blogs. I thought you meant put myself in a position where I'd be qualified to judge the risks and efficacies of various medical treatments. I'm sorry. Total misunderstanding. I'm sorry. I didn't know where you're coming from. You're coming from Jenny McCarthy. All right, okay. And that's big here in Austin, where we live. I don't know why Austin is such a big hub of that movement. I blame the hipsters. That's what I put everything on their slender shoulders. I blame them. Kind of makes sense. You got these guys riding around their old-timey bikes with their bowler hats and twisty handlebar mustaches. They're like, what else would go well with this 1890s motif we're clearly trying to cultivate? Whooping cough. Yes, that's a thing from then. Artisanal whooping cough. We'll bring that back. I've got German measles, you guys. Even heard of German measles? Won't be cool by the time you catch it. My son is 6, and I've come to the very bummed out realization that Donald Trump is going to be the first president that my son remembers for the rest of his life. Because he knew Obama, but I can tell that memory's he's 6, that memory's fading away, and I'm like, no! I'm trying to do that Spock thing where I'm like, remember, trying to, just freaks him out. But I don't know how I'm going to explain to him, that this man still got elected president even after that Access Hollywood tape come out. He's going to see that someday. I'm going to have to, and 4 years before that, the guy running, Mitt Romney, his campaign completely lost steam because all he said on a hot mic was 47% of people aren't going to vote for me anyway. And then 4 years later, this guy's like, "Oh, I grab all the pudendums that I want," and everyone's like, "Well, people say stuff, what are you gonna do?" God forbid Mitt Romney got caught on tape talking about sexual harassment. It'd be hilarious, let's be honest. It'd be, oh, if you're famous, you can just do whatever you want to a woman. You can just walk up to her and gently brush her hair with the back of your hand ever so slightly. You can goose her in the small of the back, nothing too frisky, nothing too fresh. You can tell her perfume smells nice and she just has to take it, like Mormon sexual harassment or something. Rick Perry tries to get caught on tape talking about sexual harassment, just screws up the anatomy somehow. Oh, I just do whatever I want to when I'm with a woman. I just walk up to her and I grab her right in her front hump, sort of. It's sort of connected to the shoulder. So, any of y'all got a picture of a woman I can look at real quick? I'm interested in my family history, but I haven't taken one of these. I'm very skeptical about these DNA tests they offer, where they tell you all the nationalities, your family. Those are a little hokey, because there's just a comparative algorithm. That's all it is. There's no such thing as Irish DNA. But right, but people believe it. That's why you get these guys are like, all 4 of my grandparents came here from Norway, and it turns out I'm 27% Native American. No, you're not. The test screwed up. That's impossible. But it's too late. That guy's all into it. Olaf is decorating his office with dream catchers. Oh, cool. Once that's in there, oh, neat. people, it blows my mind the extent that people just believe that. They're like, oh, well, that's what it is. Like, you know, you just, basically you're mailing a Q-tip to somebody and they mail you back a list of countries. That's a very simple business model. Like, I could do that. There's definitely going to be some knockoff genealogy companies out there, and they're going to have the same types of commercials as the big dogs. Growing up, I always thought my family was 100% Italian. But then I took the DNA test from crazychromosomes.com. Turns out I'm a fucking fish. Like they just, somebody dropped a swab in their tuna salad at lunch. They're like, we got this bozo's $50, we're keeping it. Send it out like that. So this year for my birthday, instead of baking me lasagna, my wife bought me swimming lessons. Show him beating a fisherman to death. That's my family. All right. Too far. I pretty much stopped watching the news altogether. I'm way healthier, especially tonight of all nights. But yeah, there's too much. I'm freaked out by all the horrible things going on, and I have this habit of just anytime something terrible happens, just watching the news all night long. It's not good for you. The worst of them all for me, I remember, was the Boston Marathon bombing a few years ago. Terrible. And it was really messed up for me because, like, my kid was a baby. You know, and I'm watching this on CNN, and I'm like, what kind of world am I bringing this kid into? And they caught the guy that did it, right? And they caught him in a boat. Not a boat that could go anywhere. It's just a boat in some couple's backyard, right? But I remember watching that as a married man and a father. And I distinctly remember thinking to myself, I'm going to venture to guess that that boat was already a bone of contention in that couple's marriage. To begin with, you know what I mean? It's like a midlife crisis purchase this guy had made. Couldn't really afford it, had to move some money around. And he used it once and then something broke and he can't afford to fix it. So now it's just sitting in the driveway, taking up space and collecting bugs and dust. She's got to park on the street now when she comes home from work. She's like, she's trying to be cool about it because it's his thing. And then this happens. And all of a sudden, they're being guarded in their basement by ATF officers. She finally explodes in this Boston housewife rage. I knew it! Does that thing they do where they've somehow predicted every detail of the crappy situation they find themselves in. I knew the day that you bought that thing that some Chechen nationalists would get radicalized in Watertown and to go off to Russia and get training and come back here and set off a bomb at the marathon. And there'd be two brothers, I knew it, there'd be two of them. And the older one would get shot and killed, and the younger, fruity Jonas brother-looking one would get winged by the cops and be under his wounded ass all throughout the neighborhood till he finally ended up in that friggin' boat of yours. I knew it. Now we got CNN and ABC flying their helicopters all over the neighborhood so the whole world can see this crappy backyard that we have that you can't seem to get off your ass and take care of. You lazy sack of garbage. Don't tell me to be quiet in my own house. I'm not afraid of you either, G.I. Joe. And the whole thing ended, and everyone was like, oh, thank God it's over. I'm like, not for that man. His terror has just begun. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Enjoy Chris Cubis, everybody.